Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming. I don't know if anybody can hear me okay, but if you can, let me know. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me okay. Yo, is this thing working? Yeah? Good. Thanks, David. Welcome to Metal Mondays. All right, cool. Sweet. So, Metal Monday today, I was too lazy to film a video because I went live last night and I was all wound up. So, I didn't get to sleep till like this morning. And so I kind of just decided, well, I'm just gonna hang out and talk about a few albums and show a couple things that you guys may not have seen, that you may not know I have, and that I don't normally show on the channel. And I'll give you a hint: it's not AI, but I've been playing with it pretty good, and I've come up with some pretty fun stuff. And hopefully, we'll get into that someday. I don't want to jump into too many fads. I know how that sort of ruffles feathers in the community and stuff. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. So hope everyone's having a great Monday. I know Mondays are rough. I'll go around the horn quick and say hi to everybody. We got Spine Ticks always supporting me, man. Thank you, Seth. I appreciate you, brother. And DL, National Parks Princess, go check her out. And Guru and Echo, living my best life at 60. And we got John coming all the way from the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia. Thanks, John. I got something to show you that's pretty special. You'll like it. Hi, Guru. Thanks for coming. Budget Rips. All of you guys, man. The Breakfast Club folks. Adam from Catatainment. Rascal and Lucy. So Renee. Aaron from the 808. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you. Alan Williamson hanging out. Thanks for coming, Alan. Tim at Incarnito, also known as Nito around here, for those of you who don't know. And I'll be hanging out with him tomorrow night for a little bit. So that should be fun. And yeah, Logan had a great stream tonight. I kind of got lost in the story a little bit, so I was quite intrigued. I'll probably go back and check it out another time. Let me see. I'm just scrolling up in the chat, making sure I don't miss anybody. Hey, Bert, and Bert, and Bert, and Bert number 3. Thanks for giving me the love, Bert. I appreciate it, buddy. You're a good guy. Thanks for coming on last night. We had a great time. Everybody seemed to be rocking for quite a long time. We had some laughs and nobody cried, so that was cool. And yeah, we're not antisocial. And actually, fun fact, if you actually know, that was a French song from a band called Trust. We'll get into that later. So thanks for that segue, David. And if you haven't checked out this fine gentleman here, David, the guitar man. I'm trying to find his channel here. Here we go. Let's highlight him. Guitar Off the Cuff, David S. Please go check him out. He was rocking last night. He's playing a 7-string for a bit. He played a 6-string. He did some really cool reverb solos and stuff. We chatted guitars and music, and it was a good time. And David's going to come on here sometime soon and talk heavy metal with me. It's same with John. So we're going to have a few guys. We're going to do a quick impromptu panel there one of these days. I would have done it tonight, but I didn't have enough time, and I didn't really get prepared. So look for that coming up. And John Parker, thanks, man. Thanks for coming by. Julie Farnham. Julie, I have a couple more Broccoli Man cards to send you, so keep your eye out for that. I really appreciate everybody dropping in. So this is, oh, hi, Rook. Thanks for coming. Hey, Baron. So if anybody didn't know, I released a Warhammer cards video this morning, and it was done into the 1952 vintage Topps Redback style of card, which for those of you who aren't card people wouldn't know, but they came out in there was a pack of 2, and you would separate them. So they would be, perforated, and the corners would be rounded and stuff, and they came out really good. So hopefully some people will check that out. And again, I know some people aren't a fan of the AI, but I think it's wonderful. And it's a really powerful tool, and it allows you to do some really fun and creative things. So again, the inspiration for a lot of that in the community is Sith and the Spine Ticks guys. He's been pioneering that on the show and showing people how to use Midjourney AI and how that works. I don't use Midjourney. I use a different one, but the principles are the same. It's really cool. So if you have any questions, there's tons of people in the community that are really getting into this. Rascal and Lucy as well. Renee's doing some really neat stuff as well with AI and her cats. which is really cool. We saw that on Spytix last week. Hey, George and CR, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. It is, Renee. It's really neat. And of course, you can get into some cheeky stuff too, but that's really nor the time nor the place for that right now. So I'm going to show you guys what I have this week. It was supposed to be last week's, so we'll go get into that. And again, I'm coming at this a little bit late, but I was pretty happy. So I'll flip the camera around and we'll get into what we got on the go here. I really got to get a better camera set up. I will. I'm just cheap. Okay, so everybody can see this here. So this is one of my favorite bootlegs that I have, and I got to sort of work around all the microphone gear and whatnot. So it's going to take me a minute to get used to. That's okay, Alan. You can check out the replay. I think that generates captions at some point as well. I didn't do captions right now, obviously, because we're live. So, Anthrax, you're right, Anthrax. But let's start off with this one here, guys. Anybody know what this one is? This is a bootleg called Freak Out from Alice Cooper. This is a Dutch bootleg, and it was made during the early 80s. You see, and some of you who have cassettes may remember, the common wisdom of the time was to put a piece of Scotch tape over the printing so that it wouldn't rub off after years of use. But now as a collector, that really ticks me off because now I can't take that tape off and it will pull off all the print on the cassette. But so Freak Out was an interesting recording. And let me put this back in here. Talk about it a little bit. Move the camera back a smidge. There we go. So I'll show you what tracks are on here if I can zoom in. So this was recorded live at the Toronto Rock and Roll Revival in 1969. So what was the Toronto Rock and Roll Revival? Well, it was a one-day, 12-hour music festival held in Toronto in September 13th, 1969. This unofficial release actually includes 2 tracks from rockabilly legend Ronnie Hawkins. And the tracks are Ain't That Just a Woman and Going to the River. It was a 12-hour concert that included tons of prominent bands at the time, including Screaming Lord Sutch, John Lennon, The Doors, Chuck Berry, Yoko Ono, Alice Cooper, all kinds of really great artists of the time. This recording has one of the key tracks from the Cooper catalog is Freak Out Song. If I could see this very well here. But because I'm using the webcam today, not my regular camera. So this is kind of a neat one. And again, it's got a cool cover art. The issue with this one, though, for me, is I don't know who made the cover. I know it's a picture from the concert itself. They did do a documentary of the Toronto Rock and Roll Revival. It's called Sweet Toronto, and it was released in 1971. So if you're interested in finding out more about that concert, go check out the Sweet Toronto documentary. It's a good one. And again, tons of footage with John Lennon and the Yoko Ono band, or the Plastic Yoko Ono band, as it used to called. And I think live Piece 69 recording from the John Lennon band was from that show, or at least part of the recording was from that show. So, you want to talk about Deep Purple? I told you, hang on, bud. I like John. He's he and I seem to be spirit animals. He's lockstep with me on this one. You'll like it, John. Trust me. So that's Freak Out from Alice Cooper. Check it out. It's pretty cool. And next we got Anthrax, State of Euphoria. And again, David already called it out. One of the key tracks is Antisocial. That was a song that was actually sung in French by the band Trust. And Anthrax actually translated it to English and recorded that cover. It's actually pretty phenomenal. It was the fourth studio album by Anthrax. It was released in September 1988 through Megaforce and Island Records. It was recorded between April and June of 88 at Quadrodile Studios in Miami, Florida. Shout out to all the Florida folk here. And it did include a couple of songs that are in the staple now for the live sets, including Be All End All and, of course, 80 Social. The Anthrax drummer Charlie Benetti, who is one of my favorite drummers of all time, said this album wasn't finished properly, and a lot of the other band members have mixed emotions about it, including Scott Ian, who has later gone on to say that he's not a fan of this record at all. So State of Euphoria was pretty big, although it did have a pretty lackluster reception in the Billboard. But again, it was at that time, right? They were doing stuff that really wasn't, it was a little bit avant-garde for the time. It was like thrash, punk, rap, metal. It was all kinds of crazy stuff. Anthrax was on the cusp for sure. So this is a Clear Shell Island. It is pretty beat up. It's really hard to get a hold of. But again, some of my favorite Anthrax albums are Persistence and Among the Living, and of course, State of Euphoria. So they toured pretty heavily for this one. In Europe, they opened for Iron Maiden during the Seventh Son of a Seventh Son tour, and actually played Donington Castle. And they opened for Ozzy Osbourne for the No Rest for the Wicked tour in the States, and later in that year in 88 to 89. And then they opened for Metallica on their Damaged Justice tour for basically all throughout 89 and early into 90. The cover art is neat. It's a parody picture drawn by Mort Drucker. And you might know Mort from such magazines as Mad Magazine. He's a caricaturist for Mad, and he actually designed this cover. So shout out to all the 80s folks that grew up on Mad Magazine. No, it was the fourth studio album, Center Hill, number 4. Sorry if I sounded a little lispy there. First and fourth sound a little bit the same, but it was the fourth one. Persistence of Time, Among the Living were before these ones. And Fistful of Metal, you've got it. And actually I have that on vinyl on Bonsai Records. And if you know vinyl, you know what that means. So this is a recent addition to my collection here. For those who don't know, you really should know. And for those who don't like Van Halen, I'm sorry. And if those who don't like Van Halen with David Lee Roth, I'm sorry. I happen to like both David Lee Roth and Sammy Hagar Van Halen. And I think Van Halen was a great band. I've seen Iron Maiden 25 times, John. I have the tattoos. I got the whole kit and caboodle. And right there, behind there, is an album signed by the entire band of Iron Maiden. We'll get into that some other day. But so I got this the other day at a vintage flea market, I guess. I paid $5. I was all excited to get it home. And then, because it's a Columbia House. So if you follow my channel and you know, I have a special place in my heart for Columbia House cassettes that have the red stripes. And again, the same kind of cover, white up top, white on bottom, smaller image of the record. And this is a white shell copy. So this is prior to 1985. And this has all of these staples like 1984, Jump, Panama, Drop Dead Legs, and of course, Hot for Teacher. And I'm sorry, man, when this came out in 1983, Hot for Teacher was huge. Great track, great band. And there's a little bit of lore associated with this album as well. But I was bummed to notice that if you notice in here, it's missing the pressure pad, little felt pad that used to go in there. So I'm going to fix that. And I'm going to record it. We're going to put it on the channel one of these days. I just haven't got to it yet. I could fix that within a minute or two because I have the tools and I know what to do. So that's Van Halen 1984. So let's talk about this a bit. It remains as one of the most influential albums of the 1980s. It was recorded between June and October of 83 at 5150 Studios in Studio City, California. 5150 being Van Halen's own studio that they custom built down there. And it was released through Warner Brothers on January the 9th, 1984. Center Hill's taking my whole story, bro. That's funny. So the cover artist that Center Hill is referring to is Margot Nahas. She was asked to create the cover. It featured four chrome women dancing, but it was declined because the band didn't like the output. And then when they reviewed her work again, they chose this one, which is the cherub smoking the cigarette. You see, and in England and in Canada, when this came out on cassette, remember they had the long boxes, so because people were stealing cassettes. Remember they had the big cardboard long boxes? Again, if you have a long box cassette, you got some money in your hands. Well, they had a sticker here, a promo sticker that would cover up the cigarette pack. I know, I hear you, Center Hill. And again, you and I know where you're at, bro. We think a lot alike. We grew up at the same times, we listen to the same music and like the same stuff. So I appreciate it, man. I'm glad people that here know what's going on. Actually, you're right. And I love Sammy Hagar too. Sammy Hagar playing with Mike and Satriani. They're going to come out and do some stuff this summer. So that should be cool. Satriani is really one of the only people, in my opinion, that'd be qualified to play an Eddie Van Halen solo. Just saying. So those are the three that I had for the week. So I hope it's a different mixture than what I normally put. Of course, you know, as everybody knows, I'm a big Iron Maiden guy. So speaking of Iron Maiden, exactly. I have something that I'm going to show people that haven't seen these before. Some may have, because I think I may have done a live mail day once when some of these came in the mail. But right here, we have, if you can see this here, let me move the cassettes out of the way. So those are our cassettes of the week, guys. Alice Cooper, Freak Out, Anthrax, State of Euphoria, and Van Halen, 1984. Look for that video where we do the repair, because again, I want to jump in Panama while I'm listening to Hot for Teacher. So let's go. So here it is, guys. Here it is, the encore of the night. You know what that is, right? It's an original Iron Maiden 7-inch 45 of the Clairvoyant. And some of you may not know, but I'm a vinyl guy first, a tape guy second, and a card guy third, depending on the day. Sometimes it's cards first, other times it's cassettes, other times it's records. But there you go. An original Iron Maiden Clairvoyant on vinyl. If you want to see the record, there you go. Black label. And I have them all. Just so happens that this one here was handy because I was like, what else can I show that I wouldn't normally show on the channel? So that's one. So Iron Maiden Clairvoyant came off Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. It was their first single, and to me is one of their best songs they've ever made. Now, next up, for those of you who don't like vinyl, you could split. I won't be mad. For those of you who love vinyl, keep hanging out. I got some more. I got 4 more 45s to show. So these guys just, okay, before I show this, who played their last show on Saturday at Madison Square Gardens? Does anybody know? Anybody in the chat know? Which band played their last show? Well, wait, they say it's their last show. We'll see. But it was the last show. Me too, Princess. It was the last show. You got it. There you go. Center Hill knows. Absolutely. So here you go, Center Hill. You're a Kiss guy too. I know you are. I watched the pay-per-view myself. I had to put it on the PVR because I was rocking with Spine Ticks and all the rest of the guys. Eddie and the Cruisers. Yeah, okay, guy. That's awesome. Yeah, they are. They'll never stop. Anyways, this is a Japanese 45 of Hard Luck Woman. And it's an original from Japan. Shout out to Titus, the Kanishiwa kids. Yeah, I watched the interview tonight and Paul's talk going on about how, well, Gene stopped the interview and said that they have to give props to Ace and Peter for what they did for the band. and Paul pretty much poo-pooed on him and basically, started to crap all over Paul or Peter and Ace again. And Gene just looked so miffed at him, and just, you could tell that there's such an ego there with Paul Stanley. As much as I love Kiss, I was raised on Kiss, there's such an ego there that he couldn't even for 5 seconds recognize that other people were involved in Kiss. So that's a big black mark against Paul's personality. I feel bad for the man. But you know what? He's crying in his Lamborghini while he bikes on the Santa Monica Pier while I sit in Canada in the cold. So there you go. But that's it. And this has the vintage Casablanca photo label, film label. Let's see here. Let's get the old school label there. And this is on Victor. Absolutely. Ace is the man. Ace is the man, Random, for sure. He just put out a new song, actually, which I wanted to talk about. It's called 10,000 Volts. And it's from his upcoming new record, and it's sick. You should check it out. So Ace came up with some new material, where Kiss has been playing the same material for 50 years. Now, not being said, Kiss has its place. If it wasn't for Kiss, I wouldn't have been a musician, and I wouldn't like music. So there you go. So with that said, I have something very special I'm going to show. There was one musician that was in that band who was probably one of the best drummers of the modern era, and that's Eric Singer. Eric Singer played with Alice Cooper, played with Badlands, Gary Moore, Lita Ford. He also played with Black Sabbath. I got to meet him before an Alice Cooper show at a meet and greet, and then he gave me tickets to go check out Cooper, and that was super dope. And he signed this for me, which is an Eric Singer autograph, Detroit Rock City, Casablanca 45. That's right. That's right. We're bringing the heat tonight. So I don't care if you like Kiss or not. You got to recognize this man here, Eric Singer. One of the best drummers ever, man. Just saying. And not only that, he signed the sleeve too. So there we go. There's a double up for me there. He's like, "Are you sure you want me to sign the vinyl?" I was like, "Yeah, I have like 50 of these, so go ahead." So there you go. So there's some Kiss vinyl for everybody, So again, rounding out an excellent career, and they're now going to go virtual, which I will never pay for. But maybe Paul will be able to sing without a backing track. Who knows? Okay, so the last two I got, and this is for John in the Shenandoah Valley. John, are you still here? Message me in the chat, brother. I want to see that you're still here. And Phil Lynott, Thunder Thumbs, was one of the best players ever. Thin Lizzy rocked. Rocked, man. And that man faced racism. He was one of the only mixed kids in Ireland at the time and faced a lot of adversity. The poor man drank himself to death, but the boys are back in town. I get nothing but love for Phil Lynott. Same here. I got Dave Mustaine. I got to meet him a couple times. Let's go. I guess John dipped out, but too bad, because I was doing this for him. I pulled these out of the catalog. You know what that is? He keeps talking about Made in Japan. Well, this is a Made in Japan single. There he is. So look at that, John. What do you think of that, bud? Dark Horse. Japanese single from Made in Japan. Yes. Yes, and it has the Japanese Warner Brothers Classic Boulevard label. And it's mint. You see that? You see that, guys? You can eat off it. Not that you would, but you can. So, Woman from Tokyo and Dark Horse. I like Led Zeppelin too. I got tons of Led Zeppelin stuff. Actually, it's funny. I was going to put the Led Zeppelin 4 on. And it's Led Zeppelin 4. It's not called Stairway to Heaven, you adults. So last but not least, look at what we got here. Is anybody a fan of Deep Purple's Burn record? Was Burn not one of the best Deep Purple records ever? Straight up, Center Hill. Look at that. What about a Japanese copy of Burn? So everybody think of that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The Coverdale version of Deep Purple. Yeah. Purple Mark III. So there you go. We got some old Japanese Deep Purple singles. We got some old Kiss Japanese singles. We got a signed Kiss single of Detroit Rock City. And we got Clairvoyant from Iron Maiden. So there you go. That's just what I dug out tonight here. Let me flip the camera around. Right, there we go. There we go. Let's see. There we are. There we go, folks. No, I don't want that. I'm just going to move my screen over so I can see. There we go. You can see a bit better. So those are some singles that I got recently. It's some that I've had for a while. Singer signed this back in here, let me fix that light there. Singer signed that back in 2005, 2006 when he was playing with Alice Cooper. So, and that was cool. I've seen Alice Cooper a bunch of times. Iron Maiden a bunch of times. Like a lot of times. Megadeth a lot of times. Metallica a bunch of times. So yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So John, when we were talking about Deep Purple, and I said, I want you to come to the next Maiden's Monday. That's why, because I wanted to dig some of that out and show you what I'm rocking with. Absolutely. In-Rock was one of the best ones, bud. Then I have the 1970s Speed Kings bootleg. That's like so rare. It's like 500 made in the world. Got one of those down there on the shelf. I love old heavy metal. I love music. And like I said, I've said this many a times for those who don't know, there's two types of music, man, good and bad, Since we're here, anybody heard of this band? Okay, if you're a metalhead, you know who these guys are. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Venom, damn straight. So this is an interesting one. In Canada, it was Canadian Assault. In America, it was American Assault. And in France, it was French Assault. They had a different one for each thing, which is kind of cool. But yeah, you know what was weird about the whole Kiss thing? Because they never talked about two people. They never talked about two people through this whole thing. They talked about Ace and Peter. They brought out Tommy and they brought out Eric. But they never talked about two people. And one of them is a very, very near and dear to my heart. And I never got to see him play. They were supposed to come here play. He got really sick. And then they canceled the tour. And then he later passed away. And that is one of my favorite drummers of all time, Eric Carr. Hot in the Shade. And they never talked about, with Kiss and retiring and all that, they never talked about Eric Carr. They never talked about Vinnie Vincent, and they never talked about Bruce Kulick. Bruce Kulick. Right? And Eric Carr. Huge. Kiss was done in the 80s, man. They were done. The minute they took the makeup off, they were rocketing down until they got some really good players. And, we all know the whole Vinnie Vincent thing. And if you're down south, Vinnie Vincent's promised to go live and play in Tennessee for the last 25 years and not really did. So he's not really worthy of even bringing up. But Creatures of the Night is a great record. And you know what? You got to give Vinnie the props where Vinnie was due. Eric Carr was a sweetheart, man. And I never got to see him play live. And I get a tear in my eye when I think about it because I'm a huge Kiss guy. I'm a huge rock and roll fan, and Eric Carr was one of us. He was a fan, and he got to play with them. And nice, Renee. What a sweetheart of a gentleman he was. He was just so down to earth. He was just one of the guys. And yeah, for sure. Nice, Jason. I'd like to see some of that stuff, you know? I got a huge horror movie collection on VHS. I love VHS tapes. I love anything analog. I'm not a big digital guy, never was. Even with my music, when I was playing, and we'd always try to do everything analog if we could. And oh, hell yeah, Miles Goodwin, rest in peace. April Wine, that's my area. That's my hometown. That's my stomping ground. Miles Goodwin was a genius. You know, and there's some great Canadian rock and roll bands from that time. April Wine, another one's Triumph. Triumph was an awesome band. They ruled, man. Triumph still to this day is one of the bands I listen to all the time. I love Triumph. No, it wasn't. It wasn't, Adam. That's back to the satanic panic of the 80s when they said they were the Knights in Satan's service. What a bunch of stupid crap that is. Like, honestly, man. It's like, yeah, why don't you wait an hour before you go swimming there, buddy, so you don't get cramps? Like, so many stupid, like, things that people would come up with back then and didn't know anything, right? You know, the whole Judas Priest thing with the stained class record. I'm sorry, if you don't know Judas Priest's stained class record, back in the 80s, there was a bit of controversy around that because there's a song from Spooky Tooth they covered called Better Than Me. And some kids had referenced that when they did some stuff, and everybody was like, oh, it's all, you know, and stupid stuff. So, again, a lot of that was that stupid satanic panic stuff. And, of course, you all remember when Twisted Sister had to go in front of Congress, right, and talk about all that stuff. You know, the parental advisory and Tipper Gore and the parents of America. You know, that ridiculousness. And, you know, all that did was actually increase record sales. Like, when I was a kid, if I saw parental advisory, explicit lyrics, I was like, yes, I need to have this record now. I don't care what it is, whether it's rap, whether it's metal, whether it's rock, I don't care. If it says parental advisory, I'm on it. You know, it's like in Canada when they said they wanted to legalize everything. Well, you know what? The kids didn't really know much about all that stuff until they hear about legalization, and that's all they hear now is, you know, weed this and pot that and this and that and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's ridiculous. But that's what it was like back then in the 80s. Anyways, it was pretty funny. Yeah, we all did, eh? And it's like, you know, remember when your parents caught you smoking and they're like, oh, you're going to smoke the whole pack. Yeah, way to go, Dad. Thanks. 25 years later, I finally got off them. Thanks, bud. Great, stellar decision making there. So, yeah, it's funny. Yeah, for sure. Don't tell me I can't push a button. I have to push the button. Exactly. And that's the point, you know. So anyway, that was Metal Monday for me. I was only going to hang out for 25 minutes. I still get 18 people. You guys are awesome, man. Thank you so much. We were hanging out yesterday with Tim and Bert and doing all our crazy stuff that we always do on Sundays. And wow, Rush is awesome. Absolutely. You know what? That was one band that I really, really wish I saw more of. And it was funny because it was always like, we'll see them next time because Iron Maiden's coming to town and I got to go see Iron Maiden, or Testament's coming to town, I got to go see them, or Trans-Siberian Orchestra, or Trivium, or blah, blah, blah. It was weird in our friend group. It was taken for granted because we lived around Toronto that Rush was always going to be there. And then when we found out Neil Peart was sick, and it was like so fast, everybody else, it was like the worst kept secret in the world. But for a lot of people who didn't know, they always thought that he was going to be, you know, there's going to be another show, there's going to be another tour, you know, and there wasn't. So, and nobody's going to be able to fill the shoes of the Professor. Nobody. I don't care who you are. You know, you could talk about Danny Carey from Tool, who's a great drummer, and I'm a drummer, guys, so like that's my jam, right? But there's going to be nobody that will play Rush songs like that, and nobody. I'm sorry. He was just something else. Like, it's just something else. Hey, Titus, thanks for coming, man. What's that? Oh, my first Rush. Yeah, moving pictures. Actually, my second vinyl was moving pictures. I got it from this weird guy that was selling vinyl out of a milk crate on the side of the road. It was like one of those corner, like, I'm pretty sure it would have burnt my fingers if I really looked hard enough. But he was like, "Hey man, you want to buy some records? There's $3 a piece." And they were all trash except for that one moving pictures record, which I grabbed. And I grabbed Signals as well. The one with the dog and the fire hydrant. Because some days you're the dog, and other days you're the hydrant. Remember that, folks. Yeah. And it's funny, like all the intellectual folks that I grew up with that were really, really they were thinking people, the intellectuals. They really were into Rush and bands like really Saga was another progressive band, Tool, Dream Theater. I like Def Leppard too. Rick Allen was amazing, man. He taught himself how to drum with one arm again. You imagine, think about that. You work your whole life in a band, you finally make it, you finally get a record deal, you're right about to go on the biggest tour of your life, and you crash and you lose one of your arms. Everything stops. Your life, your career, your friends' lives, your friends' career, everything you've worked your whole life for stops. But instead of, going into a bathroom and making toast in the bathtub, Rick Allen decided to go and learn how to play drums with one hand. So shout out to that guy, man. He was awesome. Yeah, and they're back on tour. The only thing I got to meet the Killer Dwarfs, actually. They were a pretty good band. Really good guys. I'm a big fan of Winger as well, for those who don't know. Kraftwerk were cool. They're different. Lots of cool bands out there. And I appreciate that all the card folks are also music people. And music people, some of them are card folks. So I just really enjoy hanging out with everybody. And Terry Bozzio was ridiculous. That metal drum set he had random, that was nuts with like the 1,000 cymbals or whatever the hell it was. Stuart Copeland from the Police. Yeah. Oh, and you're missing one. He's still around. And if you like soul and funk and Motown, his name is Jonathan Sugarfoot Moffett, also known as Michael Jackson's drummer, the drummer for the Jackson 5, Tina Turner, all of the Jacksons, including Thunder Thumbs, all of them. So Sugarfoot, man, check him out. He's awesome. Oh, and of course, since we're going there, what about Tommy Aldridge? Yeah, okay, so we're going to go there tonight. I wasn't going to go there, but I had a piece of paper written down with my top 5 drummers. But of course, it changes all the time. But Nico McBrain, Tommy Aldridge, Danny Carey, those are my top 3. So, and Nico had a stroke this past year and recovered and is on tour right now with Iron Maiden. So, just saying. But Tommy Aldridge is still around, and he's in his 70s. And I don't know if people watch Drumeo on YouTube, but he did Over the Mountain with double pedal and the full Tommy Aldridge Whitesnake experience level of Blizzard of Oz band level of drumming. It was absolutely amazing. He's an amazing drummer, and I wish I could just make it to that age, let alone still be able to play. Animal. Look at you, eh? Hey, Zach. And Animal was based on who? Who was Animal based on? Does anybody know? Who did they base the character of Animal from the Muppets? Which drummer? There's 2 of them that come to mind, and some people think it's one, but it's the other. So let me know. What do you think in the chat? Yeah, Danny Carey's awesome, dude. If you haven't seen the Numa video for the isolated drums from the Vic Firth website, you need to check it. It's dope. Yeah, Stuart Copeland's awesome. The Police were great. Motorhead, Mickey D, and Filthy the Phil Animal Taylor. Absolutely. Okay, so nobody knows. I'm going to tell you. All right. People think it's John Bonham, but no, it's not. No. They based it off of Keith Moon from The Who. Keith Moon was awesome. He drank a lot. And of course, we all know the story of Keith Moon, but great drummer, man. And the Animals were a great band too. George Burton and Eric Burton and the Animals, great band. House of the Rising Sun. Yeah, he was. They were all nuts. Now, here's a question I'm going to leave you guys with. I'm going to wrap it up in 5 minutes. We're going to make it a 45-minute. And again, appreciate you all hanging out. It seems that everybody just loves to hang out. I love it. You guys are awesome. It's like rocking with a big party without the mess. It's great. I'm a big fan of Motorhead as well. I got to meet Mickey D when they played in Hamilton. Mickey D now plays for Scorpions. And Mickey D also played with one of my other favorite bands growing up, which was Merciful Fate. So those who know. King Diamond was amazing. We drove from Rochester, New York to Pittsburgh, PA one night just to go see King Diamond. To turn around and drive all the way back. We spent the night in Rochester, crossed the border back into Canada, and we did it all in 2 days. And it was one of the best road trips of my life. And the other one we got to see was Anthrax, Testament, and then we went to see Amon Amarth in Albany, New York. And then we went to see Chief Big Way, which is Joey Belladonna's band that he plays around with on the weekends in Syracuse, New York, Utica, Henrietta area, Rochester area. So if you are in that area and you see Chief Bigways playing at a club or a bar, that's Joey Belladonna from Anthrax. And no, he's not singing Anthrax songs. He's singing old blues stuff, rock and roll. Again, it's all rock and roll, man. Amon Amarth is awesome. And you know who opened for Amon Amarth at the time? Sabaton, which was really cool. I wasn't expecting to see them. They weren't supposed to play, but there was like a last minute thing. And they were really great. It brought a little kid on, Joaquin, the lead singer, brought a little kid on stage, and they sang 1812, and they did the whole deal. It was awesome. Sabotage, you're damn straight. King of the Mountain, buddy. I got that record. That's a rare record to have. Yeah. Halls of the Mountain King. Great band. There you go. See, yeah. So too bad we didn't know each other before grade where I would have stopped by and had a beer with you. We used to tour upstate New York all the time. All the time. I loved it. We used to go to Darien Lake, hang out there, go see Iron Maiden, go see Dio, ride the roller coasters, chill out. Porcupine Tree, yes, sir. Absolutely, they were great. So, yeah, no, Sabotage is great, man. You guys are awesome. Like, this community's kick ass, bro. Like, I don't care what anybody says. You guys are all great. I love it all. I could do this all day. I love music. I love playing music. I love cards. I love comics, toys. I got it all, man. Like, we're not just talkers around here, Yeah. Stormtroopers, originals, vintage diecast. Hell yeah. A little bit of dust on that one, though. Sorry. It's been hanging around for a while. And, this. So for those of you who don't know, Senator Hill knows because he calls me it every once in a while. I like the Misfits. They were one of my favorite bands. I got into them in high school. And I was a big fan of Danzig, and I got something to say. And I got into them from listening to Metallica, and it was around that time and such. But if you don't know, do yourself a favor and get this. If you're into punk rock, these are the guys. This is a great cassette. It's a compilation. They call it Collection 1, which is a compilation of the early Misfit stuff with Glenn Danzig. So that's a fun one. I was going to do a bio of that one, but I just haven't had a chance to yet. So there you go, a little sneak peek for you. Yeah, I love bluegrass psych metal. I love Chinese death metal. I love it all, man. Like I said, good music and bad. Sweet, great band. Great band. Sweet was an awesome band. Hey, Robert. Just to recap, Robert, you're gonna have to check the rewind, buddy. We went over some old Kiss stuff and some old Purple stuff, and yeah, it was fun. I do listen to Civil Wars, actually. Yes, So I want to say thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. I didn't expect to go this long. I didn't expect for everybody to be here. I didn't expect everybody to really care. So thanks a lot. It makes me want to keep doing this. It makes me want to, bring guys on to talk about music like David and John and Bert and and DL. When you're ready to come on and do this, like outside of like have these discussions, I'd love to have you on and chat. I know you don't do interviews. You've told me that. You don't do panels. I know that. And, I get it. But I would like to have you come on and chat music because for those of you who don't know, DL was at the Day of the Green in 1985 when Metallica played with Cliff Burton. You know the one we've all watched on Cliff 'Em All? That wonderful Oakland show in 85 when Metallica actually kicked fucking ass? She was there. Yeah. So what's that tell you? Everything I need to know. So heck yeah. So Sydney Cat, thank you. You're a sweet kitty, and your kitty mom's pretty nice too. And we got again, I'm just gonna go through, thank everybody personally. John, Alex, David, Robert, Sydney, you guys are awesome, man. Thank you. Incarnito, Gradeworthy, you're the man. You're the man. And I really appreciate everybody coming in. Aaron and Center Hill, my buddy from Kevin, you're the man. I appreciate you. Actually, you know what, Center Hill, I want to have you on too. I meant to mention that earlier, and then we went both on Zach's show, and we got kind of mixed up there. So I do want to have you on. Catatainment, Adam, thank you. Rev, and all the MDBC Modern Day Breakfast Club people. You guys are awesome. The fam jam, the club, the group, the crew. Great. We got Titus still. Man, you guys are so awesome. Thank you. Random. Everybody, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Zach, both Zachs. So we did complete the goal. We got Zach squared in the house. Canadian Card Breakers. Everybody, man. You guys are awesome. I could keep scrolling forever. Sean the Jedi Master. Anybody who I missed so far, thank you again. I'm sorry. I love this stuff. I get passionate about it. I talk about it. It's what I do. Yes, I'd love to do Aloha Friday. I can't do 8 hours though, man. That's crazy. Especially your time. I'm like an hour till midnight when you start, and then I'm usually good for an hour or two, and then I'm tired. So I will certainly come on and do a little bit with you. I'd love to do a collab with Aaron again. He's a great guy. Check him out, Sports Cards and Things. Again, guys, I will really want you to do this for me, please, from the bottom of my heart. Could you go over and check out Guitar Off the Cuff with David? Let's get him up to 100. And David, don't sub everybody right back right away. Wait a couple of days so YouTube doesn't purge you. But let's get David up to 100, guys. He's grinding. He's doing some really cool stuff. All original music. He's playing it himself. He's not ripping off a cover. He's not doing someone else's stuff. It's his stuff. So that is hard to do, number one. It's hard to play in front of people, and it's hard to put yourself out there, and it takes a lot of courage. So I'm going to support it. I love it. I think it's dope. It's crazy psychedelic guitar stuff, rock and roll, early heavy bluesy type riffs. I love it. So you will too if you're into this stuff. Go check him out. He's a dope guy, and I'm glad we're pals. So again, thanks everybody at the Modern Day Breakfast Club. Thanks to the card community folks, all my buddies, Matty Ice, everybody. You guys are awesome. Thanks a lot. See you again. We're going to be rocking at Tim's channel and on Wednesday, and I think I might be hanging out with Bert on Thursday. I'm going to get around. Yeah, that's right. I'm like your ex. I'm getting around. And I'm going to tell everybody about it too. So with that said, thanks, man. See y'all later. I'm out.